have the life. They don't have the character. They don't have the that's another word I'm looking for. They don't have the character and the quality of the lifestyle, and that speaks volumes over a gift. You can teach somebody to prophesy, but you can't teach them to act right. You can't teach them to live right. You know, so it's easier to get a person to come in here that has some values, has some core values, some morals, and teach them how to prophesy than to get somebody in here and make them live right.
Come on.
You're gonna make me run.
So it's not about the gift, but the church have elevated the gift, like Kathy said, like a god, to be so over this. And it's sad because you got all these gifted people in the body going all around ministering and everything, and then when they go home, they're failures because they are not able to live this thing and walk this thing out. But everybody's flocking to them, everybody's following them, and the lifestyle is not there.
Yeah. Hey, but you know something too, that the most dangerous part about that is that, just as the apostle was saying, if we teach that to others, if they get that from us, then now we're going to reproduce that same thing. And now, so it just keep on reproducing, and everybody begins to think it was about the gift. You know, because they measure things on how accurate you were. You know, they say because he was an accurate prophet, that his lifestyle is right, which don't make that true.
You know, that brings me to this thought. That's good. Let's say here with our house. It's important. We're taught to have character. Character is very important. That's the number one thing in our house. But let's say all the people that God wants to bring into us. Let's say He bring those people into us. Now, let's say our character is jacked up. We messed up. Those people will come in and they will begin to partake of the same things that we partake of. They will begin to have that same messed up character. So before God even begins to bring in the flood of people that He wants to bring in, the house that He brings them into has to be right. The people, at least the core people, have to have some core values. They have to have some stability. They have to have I keep missing this word. They have to have integrity. They have to have integrity, because if they don't, it will produce the same thing throughout the body, and we'll have more of a gift, a place where it's all about a gift when it's not about a gift. It is, but it's not. And so it's very important that even as a house and the houses that are watching, that your core people walk in integrity. They have core values. They adhere to the core values. They adhere to the things that we're being taught. Otherwise, that thing will begin to produce throughout the body.
I thought about that scripture, lay your gift at the altar and be reconciled with your brother. What about laying that gift down and get reconciled? Get yourself together and let God, you know, deal with your character, deal with different issues as the word comes. And then, you know, you make room for that gift.
Come on, that's good. Yes.
They won't lay a gift down if they think that they right.
Right, because the gift can be so in control of what God really wants to do, and I believe that has a lot to do within the body today, and we don't see that fruit of the growth. Or we'll see some change taking place in this world.
But that's the important of new eyes too, because normally when it's something like that, it's because of the way we perceive God. It's the way we see God. It's something that we have not been awakened to, that we don't have an awareness of. It's like a form of godliness but deny the power. And so it's the problem a lot of times with things like that is the way that we see Him. We don't see Him correctly. We always see Him to be a hard God, a mean God, where He's so mad at us. And so a lot of times it's the way we see God that's off, that won't allow us to shift and adjust those things on the inside of us.
And I believe that's one of the reasons why the church is in the position that it is now. Because we've gotten away from the laws and the ordinances of God. And as soon as somebody gets mad, they think they can go start their own church. Because they have a gift, because somebody has said, man, you know, you can teach and you can preach and you can run with the best of them, you know, and now, you know, because of that, we have so many thousands of denominations, and we have people that are now leading people into their own graves, because now we have to remember the law of reciprocity. Yeah, that too. And you know, if somebody starts off the wrong way and that's never corrected, well, you can surely believe that that thing is going to come back around. And if you don't take care of that, it's going to pass off to everybody else. And that's why it's important that we begin to build correctly and not build a church off offense, pride, you know, all of these things come into play when we begin to, you know, think of our gifts that is really higher than anybody else. Also,
I think that's why it's so good too to have an apostle and a prophet over the house, you know. And when an apostle and a prophet is over the house, you look at the apostle, the apostle grounds. No, a pastor grounds. He governs, and you look at the prophet that she guides, and you look and you say both of them watches over make sure that the foundation is laid correctly in the house. And when that foundation is laid correctly, now what happens is they watch to see how it's built upon. You know, they helped to make sure that you are building correctly. And when that's not in houses where the foundation is laid correctly, sometimes you get pastors that go out and they want to establish a church, but they don't really have the revelation to establish a church on. And although they may start a church, they have not started the church correctly because the foundation is not built correctly.
Good, good.
Yeah, it's true.
There was a scripture here. It says in Ephesians 1:18, the eyes of your understanding may be enlightened. I looked up the word enlightened, and it meant freed from ignorance and misinformation. So that was very powerful, because if we begin to look at that and really get an understanding, is enlightened, freed from ignorance and misinformation. So you mean to tell me that we were ignorant and we were misinformed? Yes, we were.
Yeah, pretty much.
Before we even came here, before I even joined, before we even all came together, there were some ignorant things and ignorant people, misinformed people. We were misinformed. We didn't know, none of our, I'm pretty sure, did you know you were called to what you were?
No.
We think we got it all together. Yeah, but we all can be real with that, because we do. We think, okay, God, He called us to go start this, to go do that, but when He really want to strip you, when you come to the right foundation, when you in a church and the foundation is laid right, and the apostle, when truth is being taught, and you know, and you have a revelation, and you really start coming into that revelation, and you're building correctly, then you know that you being stripped, because He's going to rebuild. Because apostles, He governs and He builds. He builds people. He builds us to bring us back into our original birthright, into our original birthplace. We're coming back into the dominion. But if we never allow ourselves to really, you know, get into that place where we can change and have our new eyes and our perceptions, you know, that we can really be, and be grateful and value the body itself, that value, and to have respect for one another, you know, and without the envy and jealousy and all those things. It's time for that stuff to come out of the body of Christ, because if we are the light, then our light should shine. It'll never shine, because if that darkness and that ignorance and all those places is still there and in the body itself. And we have to be aware of it ourselves. We have to look within ourselves and search ourselves out. you know, to know if we're in the faith or we're in something else.
Yes. But see,
I'm sorry.
it's good. But see, when God begins to strip us and we begin to see ourselves like we really are, we call it the enemy.
Yeah.
It's the enemy. You know, the enemy is the enemy. Yeah. But it's really not. You know, it's like when we went over to the house and the lady said that if God is showing you everything good about you, it's probably not God. Because it's just like Elder Kathy said, God wants to strip us. He wants to begin to remove all that yuck is what I hear, all that yuck. God wants to begin to remove those things. So when we begin to see things, it's not the devil, it's not the enemy, it's God showing us. It's the places in our life that God is saying, you know what, I want to remove this, I want to take that toilet out the living room because it don't really go there, go into a bathroom. So God wants to really rearrange us on the inside. But we call it the enemy, but it's really not. We need to be real careful with it. And why would the enemy show you an area that he already got? So if it wouldn't be, but you know, it's kind of like what we've been taught. When we in prayer, we begin to hear certain things. You write those things down because those things are not really off. You just say, you know what, I thank God for showing me, because that's who it is. You write it down and you deal with those things, but it's not the enemy. So we need to be real clear that it's God, and it's just the day that we're in. It's the day that we're in. God wants to begin to clean us up and remove those things, and it's like Elder Kathy said, he wants to rebuild us because he has a work for us to do, but we can't do it in the state that we're in.
You know what? And one more thing I want to say, and sometimes the body itself rejects truth. When truth comes, they call it heresy, because they don't really want to line up because of the perception in their minds. You know, but when you line up to truth, and truth, but Jesus is truth.
Yes.
And when truth comes and revelation and understanding comes to bring you into his divine order, and you reject it, that's because you're still in a place of I lost a thought on that. Deception.
Yeah.
You're deceived by falsehood and all the lies.